You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
B2B service providers, are you tired of not knowing when your next customer is going to show up? And would you like to go to owning a 24/7 customer getting machine that works in your sleep? With us today is Callum Armstrong. He is the founder and managing director of Paste and Publish. He's a prior marketing agency owner, freelancer consultant, and now he wants to share all the tips and tricks that has turned into the customer getting machine that he has today. Callum, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Chris. And I'm really excited to share what I can to help your people level up their market.
I love it. Absolutely. Our audience is going to be so excited to hear what you have to share with us. But we'd love to learn more about your entrepreneurial journey. I mentioned before that you were a previous marketing agency owner, but what else did you do before that that kind of led you into what you're doing today?
Yeah, great question. It all started back in late 2017. Before that, I'd studied marketing. I'd been building all these funny, weird businesses on the side since I was a kid, but I was backpacking around Asia, doing the typical OE, overseas exploration. And I wanted to build a company that could do good for the environment. And I stumbled across this plant called Manuka. You might have heard of Manuka honey. That's the plant it comes from. Anyway, I was learning about the essential oil that came from its extracts, and it had these crazy health properties, really powerful things it can do for you. So I was reading about that, and I learned about what it does in the environment, that it prevents erosion on hillsides. It creates a canopy cover that allows other plants to flourish. It creates home for invertebrates, that brings birds in, that bring the seed, pollinators, all that fun stuff. And so I booked a one-way ticket home back to New Zealand. I started this company called Manuka Essentials, not knowing how to run a business, with this view that I'm going to bring native forest back to the country. Because if we can create demand for this plant, then we can create demand for the conditions to bring native forest back. Anyway, I did that for a few years, and we built a whole lot of skincare lines. We had beard oil, skin oil, shave oils, essential oils, things for cuts and scrapes, all this cool stuff. And I've sold that business last year, by the way, so not involved in that any longer. During that time, I was operating as a content writing and copywriting freelancer. I wrote websites and blogs, downloads, emails, newsletters, press releases, landing pages, that kind of thing. And that was just to pay my bills as I went. And fast forward to 2020, COVID lockdowns came about, the world stopped, and my skincare business was not essential. So it went to $0 overnight. And one of my main clients, they did an e-commerce accounting automation software. And because of the boom in online shopping, that went crazy. People were buying it. We had another company that was doing natural wellness products, and that went really big. It expanded and increased. So they said, hey, we really want you to run a marketing agency and hire a team so that we can get larger scale results from the results we're getting from your work. And before that, people had asked me to open an agency, and I didn't really want to. But then I looked at the situation and I said, hey, my main business is at $0. My freelancing is potentially making it into a successful business. I've got friends that want to work for me. I've got a couple of clients that want to come on board. So I thought, why not? I had an agreement I made to myself at that point, though, which was 5%. We called it the 5% pledge. So 5% of whatever money we brought into our agency, Paste and Publish, we would use to do free work for environmental projects and community groups. And then we also started this charity called the Reforestation Fund, which the idea was that, well, if we can help more businesses to give money to environmental projects, then that'll work well. So anyway, I did that. I started building this agency. I started building the charity and getting it ready to go, which was a bit of a slow burn. And then the world opened up again. Manuka Essentials started selling again, but I didn't really have time to focus on it. I was focused on the agency. More clients were coming on board. We were getting larger and larger results. So I kind of put that on the back burner, and it was just ticking over. Then about, I think 6 months later, I partnered with this lady who was making our soaps, and we opened this retail shop selling soaps, and that turned into like all these crystals we were selling and like a real spiritual store. And it wasn't really my vibe. I didn't like the idea of flying crystals on planes across the world. It doesn't really fit with my sustainability ethos. So I said, oh, this is really cool. You know, your dreams will come to life. We've got this business, but I'll just give you your shares back. I need to focus on my agency. So I did that. So spent about a year building this retail shop up, and then leaving it. And then the agency kept growing, but I wasn't really enjoying the agency. And there was a few reasons why. So the first one was we would get these great results for clients, and then our scope and our budget with the client would increase. And then they would become a lot more reliant on us, and we would become a lot more reliant on them. And it became to the point where, like, it's great to have a high ticket client, but it's also, I like to see my promise has always been in my business that we'll set you up so that if we work together, great. If we keep working together for the future, awesome, fantastic. But if we don't, you're set up for the future. And I was starting to feel like people were overly reliant on us. And I could see that in running this business, I got so much joy out of coaching people, out of talking to clients and helping them to do strategies. Half the time I wouldn't even charge for it because I loved it so much. And then teaching my writers and my team how to do better content and helping them to upskill and helping them to progress their careers. And I got so much joy, like, as I started winding it down and some of our team got jobs in other companies, them saying, oh, we got jobs in these big businesses largely because of what you taught us. I was like, this is bringing me so much more happiness than doing the marketing, right? So anyway, I had a lot of soul searching. I decided I wasn't enjoying the agency, various other reasons. I loved helping people. And so I thought, well, I've got all these skills. Let's become a coach. So then I evolved the agency into a coaching business. And so now we focus on businesses that solve problems for other businesses, B2B services. There's a few reasons why I focus on this. One is that it's the economic growth engine of our world, and that's in the back end is where all the value is created, that creates jobs and wealth and value. It's a longer sales cycle. So it takes a lot more time typically for a B2B business to make a decision than consumer good or a consumer service. And it's usually more strategic when you help someone to find the right accountant or the right lawyer or the right software provider. It unlocks all this value that helps them to grow their business, their community, their economy. So that's that. But I believe that business is the way that we bring our dreams to life. And in this world, in this day and age, creating a business and being an entrepreneur is a way to actually create the future that we want to live in, bring our business dream, but also our personal dreams to life. So me coaching people is helping you to make sure that you've got the customer getting machine so that you can bring your dreams to life. And for me, my dream just happens to be helping the environment and helping to save some of our biodiversity and empowering people to do that. And so by working with me, you're also helping me to bring my dream to life, which is protecting the planet. So the charity we started, the Reforestation Fund, we've evolved that recently. We're about to change the name. I can't quite say the name just yet, but it'll be out there soon. And we've moved into using our content marketing and our storytelling skills to then get people that are helping the environment, profiling them and telling the stories of how they help the environment. So getting people on, talking to them, sharing the insights of what people are actually doing on the ground so that your everyday Joe, your public the people around us can actually understand and connect better. Because if you don't know what's going on, you don't know the problems and solutions and the personalities helping, how can you truly care and take action? So that's kind of a bird's eye view of 6 years, but that's me.
I love it. And thank you so much for sharing that because it's evident that you've gone through this incredible journey here, wearing many different hats, but you've helped and touched so many lives. And throughout that pivot and soul searching, you found this new passion in the way that you can help people, the people who are also helping other people and doing the thing that you love the most, which was the coaching that was mixed with the charity, the greater purpose, serving your community and the earth as a whole. I love that story and that passion, that purpose. Everything that you do reminds me of providing value, the content that you create. It's increasing visibility. It gets people in front of the right people. I'd love to talk more about this evergreen content strategy that you kind of go through. Why is it so important to focus on some of the evergreen content like blogging or maybe podcasting? How is that beneficial? And why wouldn't we want to invest in something that's more long term?
It's a good question. I think before answering that, we need to define what evergreen content is. So I've got my view on it, what it is, but do you want to share yours?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So to me, evergreen content is content that can be utilized for years to come. I feel like it's going to provide value to other people and not lose its sort of spark that people need that's actually going to continue to provide value for years to come. Is that similar or even close?
Absolutely. Yeah. So imagine the internet doesn't exist. We wouldn't be doing the podcast if it didn't. But A book that is helping someone might be evergreen. The newspaper from yesterday, not evergreen. So let's say you're a cell phone retailer and you write a blog on the top cell phone brands of summer or autumn, spring, where you are 2024. The moment the next season rolls around, that's out of date. On the other hand, let's say you write an article on ask yourself these 10 questions to find the right cell phone for your needs. Sure, technology evolves and it might not be as relevant in a few years, but it's going to be a lot more evergreen because it's actually focusing on something that endures. So there's a few ways of looking at evergreen content. One is the topics you choose. Look for topics that are lasting, that are a persistent customer problem or interest or need or entertainment point. The second one is looking at the channels that you use. So posting on Twitter or what's now X or Instagram or Facebook, for example, for the most part, they're not evergreen. People have forgotten about it within a few hours or a few days versus writing a really good blog, making a really good download, making like a YouTube documentary or a podcast. These things last for longer. They have more sticking value. So they're going to be there for longer. I guess the other side is quality. If you put out something that you haven't thought much about, if you do one of these, let's just blindly produce 1,000 AI blogs, please do that. That's not very evergreen. So yeah, it's really just, are you creating assets or are you just creating work?
That is a great question that not many entrepreneurs realize or ask themselves when they're trying to create content. Sometimes they think the quantity over quality is what's going to help bring in people. But again, when you're making an investment, you want something that's more long term that can pay you dividends. And I feel like the blog content, the video content is going to pay you more dividends over the long run. And again, you can take this content and chop it into smaller pieces. It doesn't have to continue and stay in the long form content. It can then become more social media content or small short snippets of video, or you can take portions of your blog and create more content from it. Why is this program so successful when it comes to pace and publish within the content strategy?
I think it's just that it is solving persistent problems. Most of our content creation, to be fair, has been focused around writing blogs that are targeting keywords that people are searching on Google and then capturing their emails and nurturing them with emails. So if someone's searching for something on Google, you can see what they're searching, how many searches a month, where in the world that is, the trend. So you can make sure that what keywords you're actually targeting are in demand. It's a bit different to posting on social media or running ads because you're generating demand for what you offer. Someone sees your post and they start engaging with it, or they see your ad and they click on your landing page and they go through your buying process. Whereas when someone's searching on a search engine, they've already shown the intentions before they actually visit your website. And so you can make sure that your content, your value, your assets, specifically solving the problems that they're actually coming to in that moment. And if there's 100 searches a month for a specific keyword, it's not going to be the same 100 people each month, but they're going to have the same problem. So therefore, the assets you create, you can really make sure they work. Look, some keywords you write content for, and then the search volume disappears and it doesn't matter. Others, you think this isn't going to do much, but I'll do it anyway. And then they become huge in a year's time. So it can really change. And once someone's given you permission to email them and they're on your mailing list and you own that list, and as long as you nurture them and you build trust with them and you don't be a dick, like you've got this relationship and you have a reason to follow up, whether that's an email automation or just ad hoc emails or a newsletter that you're sending out each month. That builds and deepens the relationship, which is when they come to buy. I think right now we're looking at this whole conversation. We've been talking about what are we doing as marketers or as business owners to fulfill our goals. But the hat that I don't see people wear often enough in marketing is, what are my customers doing? How do they feel? What does it matter for them? What is their perspective? And if you think about someone going through the buying journey, if they see one of your 1,000 AI blogs, that's really rude to them. It's really disrespectful. And there's no reason why they should buy from you. If you give them really good content and you solve their problems and you say, hey, by the way, I can help you more, just give me your email address. It's like, of course, you've solved my problems. Why wouldn't I want you to help me? If I see an ad on social media and they say, hey, buy from me, I'm like, no, I don't really care. If I see someone that emails me or does the LinkedIn outreach, and it's just straight into the sales pitch. I think they call it pitch slapping. And I love that term, but But it's really like, I don't have time for you. You haven't actually considered my needs. Whereas on the contrary, if I search for something and I find someone's put in the effort to educate me and help me, one, I build trust with them. If I give it in my email address, or if I buy their low ticket offer, or if I get on the email somehow and they keep providing value, I become their biggest end. I've got one example, a coaching company who I actually became a customer of. I introduced you to them, Peaceful Profits, and they're a great example of this. I saw their ad and they said, "Hey, we've got this $5 book showing you how to make $1 million business. You know, if you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. No worries for the next year." But the only reason why they did that was so they could email me. And then the emails they sent a couple times every week were so valuable. I was like, I don't want to leave this email no matter what. I was referring them before I even met them. I was looking for ways to work with them. I was doing all this stuff because they educated me, because they added value. And I've got other examples of people that do this. So that's a long way of saying, just respect your clients, look at their problems, look at the journey they go through. Because when they buy from you, they're not buying from you because they want to buy from you. They're buying from you to solve their problem. So what is the problem? What is the solution? How do they go through that buying journey? And then just serve and provide value. And if you create assets, then you can do it once and you can give value for years to come.
What an incredible mindset shift for many business owners that may be looking to up their game and content strategy, but they're feeling lost. They don't have clarity. They're not sure what type of content they can create. They're probably going to the typical boilerplate, 10 this strategy, or here's how to do this. But when they focus on solving a customer's problem, that is actually the content that they're looking to educate themselves on. And it's much different when you do like a cold outreach strategy where, again, they're cold, they don't know about you. Whereas when someone stumbles upon your content, you're finding them within their stages of the buyer's journey. They are looking to be educated, they want to listen to you. And now you're providing the solutions to all of their problems. Now it boosts your trust and credibility. It's your authority. Just like you mentioned, that value added email sequence you never wanted to leave. How often have we gone onto an email newsletter? We thought it was going to be great, but it ends up just sounding like, why haven't you bought our stuff? As opposed to, here's something that's going to help you along in your journey. Why do we seem to go towards the sales first? Are people just so hungry and desperate that they feel like they need to get the sale? Do they not realize that the sales journey is a bit longer for B2B service providers? What was the mindset shift for you that allowed you to take that new approach into the value-based marketing?
That's a really good question. I think I've always been this way. I've always just genuinely wanted to help people. That just comes down to who I am. I think the question you touch on is a more fundamental question. On one hand, we're business owners, we're busy, we've only got so much time. If you say this activity over here will bring you customers, but it might take a year and it might or might not work, and this one over here, you can just go and sell and it's going to get numbers. You're going to do the numbers one. No brainer, right? That's one thing. And if you're not super focused on marketing, you haven't been doing this for a long time, it's the whole mechanism of getting people through content is a bit of a mouthful to digest. A lot of people will get results from other areas like running ads, and then they'll say, okay, we'll invest some of our profits into content, but it's an investment and it does take longer to see results. And so people quite often just want to make the sale. And no, we're in business to make money with things, and that's fair enough. On the other hand, though, I think there's a fundamental change in how we operate in society. Before we were all online, you actually had to look someone in the face and eyeball them. If you just went to a party and you were like, buy my stuff, if you want to buy my services, and people are like, come on, dude, I just came to have a beer with you. You're not going to be invited back, right? But somehow when we're online, because we've got access to everybody, we're more connected and more isolated than ever before. And so I think there's a subconscious understanding in our minds that it's okay to spam people. It's okay to sell. It's okay to push things because we've got protection of the screen that I'm looking at you through. And that ignores the fact that they're still a human. There's still a journey they go through. And so I think those are the areas to look at. But then as far as why do I do this? Aside from just genuinely wanting to help, the other thing is I see risk as, what if I do 100 or 1,000 emails and no one responds? I've damaged my sender score on my emails. I've burned some bridges that I can't regain. I've put bad juju, bad energy out into the world, I guess, because I've wasted some people's time and I've wasted my time. and my resources, whether I'm emailing them all, whether I'm figuring out how to do the automations, whether I'm hiring someone like you wouldn't just do a hard out sales pitch, right? But it's a waste of resources. If I'm running advertising, like I've done this before. I've learned a lot of these things from making mistakes. I've gone out and I've been like, buy. And I'm like, well, where did my money go? It's all down the drain. So that's on one hand. Yeah. I think to me, if I'm going to put in the effort, I'd like to make sure that it lasts. When I started that company, Market Essentials, before I launched it, I wrote about 12 blogs on different things related to what is this plant versus another plant that sounds very similar. What are the traditional uses? What are the benefits of the oil? How can you use it? That kind of stuff. And at the time, it wasn't really performing and I was beating myself up over it. And then I came back 4 years later, and I looked at my analytics data and I realized this is bringing in 1,000 visitors a month from stuff I did 4 years ago. And I haven't done anything. I haven't updated it. I haven't fixed the mistakes on the page, none of this stuff. And it's getting sales regularly. And this is what we're seeing for a lot of clients. I've created content 4 or 5+ years ago that was a heavy lift at the time, that was creating that asset and delivering that value, but it's still bringing them customers and leads today. And so, I don't really want to work too hard my whole life. I mean, I probably will because kind of a workaholic, but I'd rather create something and then let that serve me.
I love that. It's a great perspective and insight. And the fact that other clients have demonstrated these results, that content that was created 5 years ago plus is still bringing in traffic. It's still bringing in sales and clients and customers. I think that's a testament. This is a proven strategy. It works for many different industries. And this is what you want to invest your time in. I'm always telling people, don't focus on the short-term goals, focus on your long-term goals, because those who understand that it's going to take some time, the medium and long-term strategy, those are the ones who are going to create long-lasting brands. That's what it's about. Now, one of the strategies that we kind of discussed earlier, I don't want to take too much time on it, but it is the fishing method. And I think this is a perfect framework. I brought my fishing hat here, and I believe that you brought your own fishing rod so that we can go fishing. I love it. So when we're going fishing here, this is a great metaphor on kind of creating this simple framework to understand what we need to focus on to get better marketing results. And this is what you generally teach clients. It's knowing which fish you want to try to go for, weaving your net, and then going fishing. Can you walk us through these 3 steps and why they're so important?
Yeah. So I was explaining how to get results from marketing to clients for many years. And I found that there were a lot of ways that it would confuse people. And it was really hard to have a simple, elegant way to diagnose where you're at and what you need to improve. So if you're not sure why your marketing isn't working and you're thinking, I'm throwing stuff at the wall, I don't know, or I haven't started yet, listen up, because this is going to make it a lot simpler and a lot easier to get. So think about marketing like fishing. There's typically 3 stages to going fishing. First, you say, all right, what do I want to catch? What type of fish am I looking for? Where do they swim? What do they eat? What types of bait are they going to take? That's like identifying your ideal customer. So let's say you're an accountant. Are you an accountant for rental properties? Is it for tech companies? Is it for online sellers? Is it for your local cafe or your local restaurant? Because they're all different audiences. They all have different needs. They all eat different fish at a different time of day. The next is you need to get the right equipment, weave a better net, or get the right lure or bait or tackle or live bait. For example, that is understanding the needs and pain points and challenges of your ideal customer and turning them into a website that speaks to their pain points, their needs, their desires, that positions you as a no-brainer. Only 3% of your audience on average is ready to buy right now. So for those that aren't ready to buy right now, you want to capture some of them and nurture them. So creating what we call a lead magnet or some form of value exchange, a download. It can be an ebook, a template, a checklist, a white paper, many other ways you can do it, but essentially solving one of their problems in advance in exchange for their email. And then for those people that aren't ready to buy yet, you can capture them and then you can send them an automated series of nurtures that warm them up and build trust with them so that when they're ready to buy, you're the obvious choice. So that's like weaving a better net. And again, if you are targeting rental accounting, that lead magnet and the messaging on your website is going to be different to the messaging for, say, an online seller. And so making sure that's right is critical. So we help you to really get that right and get that messaging on point. Because coming back to what we said earlier in this conversation, there's another human at the other end of the screen. And the numbers you see, the data, the ROI, the profitability and performance, very much depends upon how you serve that person. And that comes back to understanding their needs. So once you've done that, you go fishing. When you go fishing, you don't expect to drop your rod in the water and catch enough food for the next 3 months. You try different things. You try different tactics. You talk to people that you're fishing with. You go to different places. You double down on what works. And that's the same with marketing. So the third stage is saying, what types of marketing methods are we using? Are we podcasting or blogging? Are we running ads? Are we going to do sales outreach? Are we going to automate our LinkedIn and email outreach like you do, Chris? Are we doing something else? And then based on that, we then try it out and we test it and we refine and optimize and improve until we get results. And so that's kind of the structure that I like to look at it. So if you're thinking my marketing is not working, ask yourself, firstly, are you targeting the right people? Are you serving the right people? Interview them. By the way, I've got a really good toolkit with a list of interview questions. I'll give it to your listeners for free. It's just a Google Doc. No email sign up required. Shows how great of a bad of a marketer I am, but
Thank
it's
you,
all right.
Callum. We appreciate it.
So I'll give you that link to share and then talk to them, find out what they need, reflect that in your messaging. Ask yourself, if we know who our ideal customer is, we know their pain points, is this reflected on our website? Do we have a way to capture people that aren't performing, that aren't buying and warm them up? If we have that, then the question is, one, are we getting out in front of them with a consistent way of reaching them? Two, does this method of reaching them actually suit our business operations? Like, can we do this consistently? Because it doesn't come from one big campaign overnight. It comes from consistent action over time. So is this activity something actually fits with longevity in our business? And then if not, then if that's still not working, then the question is, can we test and tweak the way we're doing this method? Can we improve it? Can we try different things? Can we actually talk to some leads that we've got from it and ask them how they feel it? And then if you're at that point and it's still not working, then you might want to go back to the drawing board and say, one, are we targeting the right customers? Do they have the resources to buy and the willingness and readiness to follow through? And on the other end, are we using the right method? Should we be doing something else? So there's quite a few moving parts in marketing. And I think this comes back to why a lot of people want to go straight to sales. Because for me to say to you, hey, Chris, do you want to buy from me? Do you want to buy my offer? I can solve your problem. It's a lot easier than setting up this machinery. But what we're doing is we're creating a pipeline. We're creating a series of leads that are warming up over time and having them come to find you and get you in your sleep, which is how we transform your business from not knowing when your next customer will show up to owning a 24/7 customer getting machine that works while you sleep. And if you're going to be relying on your business to bring your financial future and your dreams to life, getting customers that find you is such an important part of it. And it's really important to build that into your overall operations.
I love that. And I love the fishing idea that you put behind this within the framework, because it really gives us a mindset shift to let us know, okay, I need to look at this area. I shouldn't expect instant results. As soon as we cast our line out into the water, we shouldn't expect to get a bite on the first cast. And that's something that we need to rethink and then go back to the drawing board. When is it time to actually take a step back and look at the previous steps and what's not working right? What can I tweak? What can I refine? Is it the channel? Is it the lake? What are we looking at? And it's a great approach to kind of outline the pipeline and strategy within the marketing funnel. Now, with everything that you've learned throughout the years, is there a really great podcast, a YouTube series, a book, or any sort of educational content that exists out there that you would recommend to someone, saying this is something you really need to check out that's going to change the mindset or the strategy that you take?
I can share some that I've learned from Neil Patel. He's got some really good content. As you get more into marketing, especially if you're a marketer, sometimes you're like, oh, I know that already. But if you're just getting started, he's got thousands of blogs and they're really good. Backlinko, Brian Dean, he has some really good content on content marketing, SEO, video marketing. People can come listen to your podcast, Brandwork Framework, of course. There's a company that I get coached by, Peaceful Profits, and they've got a really cool book called The One Book Millions Method. And that talks about how you can use a low ticket offer to get customers. So I'm still learning about that, but I find that really interesting and their emails are like on point. if you are doing online training or coaching or selling courses, a guy called Ollie Richards, he started this business called Story Learning and scaled it to $10 million, which teaches people languages through stories. And his personal newsletter has some amazing content, which again, really changed my mindset on things. There's a lot of other places out there, but do you have any people that come to mind?
Absolutely. I love the ones that you mentioned. Neil Patel, that was someone I started following maybe 4 to 7 years ago. For me personally, I really love Alex Hermosi's content strategy. And in addition, his value framework, the way that he takes value as an equation, where value is equal to basically how likely is it that I'm going to achieve the results? How long will it take me? And then the bottom is what you're trying to reduce the obstacles that I would overcome. And it's just a great way to perceive value as an equation. And then that can help us build our offer and our messaging and our strategy when we kind of understand what value it brings to people. Now, for those who are interested in learning more about you and your business and everything that you're doing, where can people follow you, find out more about what you're doing?
So if you want to have a chat, you want to engage, I'm really active on LinkedIn. Come say hi. I don't bite. If you want help with your marketing, you want to set up the right foundations and you want to get the right elements in place to ensure long-term success, we have a coaching program called Evergreen Leads, which is how you go from not knowing when your next customer will show up to having that 24/7 customer getting machine. And for that, you can go to our website, pastandpublish.com/evergreen-leads. So that's really how we help through coaching. But yeah, if you just want to learn some more, I can help you in any way, or you just want to chat, hit me up on LinkedIn. I try to avoid Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and the other platforms because there's a lot going on in this world and good to have a bit of space and mental clarity too, but they're also good at platforms. But yeah, that's kind of where you can find me. And if you're not sure where to start and you're not ready to get help, check out that customer interview toolkit. It can be easy to gloss over what your customers have to say and think, I know the answers. Even if you've run your business for the last 20 years, you're going to know a lot more than anyone else about your business. But it's easy to make assumptions and to not really stay on the ball of what are my customers thinking. Their thoughts, their feedback, their actions change all the time. And it's an investment in talking to your customers. So yeah, check that out if you wish as well.
I love that. Thank you, Callum. And for those who are interested, we'll have the links available down in the show notes, the description, so you can have quick access to all the lead magnets, lead gen offers, and ways to connect with Callum here. Now, Callum, we're short on time. However, I would like to learn more about your future goals. What is in the pipeline? What's on the timeline for you for the rest of 2024? I believe you're talking about this rebranding with a charity that you can't share too much about, but what else is on the docket for you for 2024 and beyond?
So we are doing a lot actually. We've got another business called Improve Your Business 3 minutes at a time. It's a newsletter and myself and originally my mentor, who's a retired business owner and now a good friend, Bernie Hanvey, we share a fortnightly newsletter sharing practical tips and a 3 to 5 minute read that you can action straight away to get better results in business. So we're launching that in the next few weeks at the time of this recording. So improveyourbusiness.substack.com. We'll be doing that. We've got our charity, the Reforestation Fund, which is being rebranded soon. And we're getting ready to create content and do more interview style, podcast style content with conservation leaders in New Zealand and beyond. Obviously launching Paste and Publish's coaching program and scaling that up. But I think we're getting ready, my partner and I, to travel the world. And so I guess building this in a way that we can see the world. So that'll be also sharing more of our content as we go around. That's a few.
That sounds
Travel.
it's ambitious. However, you are laying the groundwork and the strategy that you need in order to 2, 3, 4 years from now to take some time off to let your businesses kind of run themselves. But you're putting in the effort now. It's that short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. And for the business owners who set the foundation in the right way, they're going to set themselves up for life where you can have a semi-early retirement. I'm sure you won't ever stop working because you love doing it. But again, a little more time for yourself to travel and enjoy and see the world. I think that's ultimately the end goal for a lot of us entrepreneurs. Any other last thoughts you want to share with anyone in our audience here?
Yeah, I'd just like to share gratitude for you, Chris. We missed it. I think I said, do you want to collaborate? And then we jumped on a Zoom call last week and we were like, you said, what was it? You were like, this is like Step Brothers. Like we get along real well. I thought that was really funny. And I just appreciate your attitude towards genuinely helping people and serving people and doing right by people. And I think it's important to give credit where credit's due. And yeah, tops to you for that. Take my hat off to that. There's enough people that are just looking for the sale and disappear, and you're not one of those people. So thanks just for being real genuine, man. Like,
Of
and
course.
well, the audience, if you're thinking of working with Chris,
I appreciate that. And Callum, we have alignment in our strategy and our values and how we want to treat others in this world. It's great to have that alignment and share our tips and tricks with each other. I'm sure we'll be enjoying more conversation as time goes on here. But I appreciate you taking this time for the podcast and sharing all these tips and tricks with our audience. For everyone who wants to get connected with Callum, make sure you check out the links below. And Callum, thanks so much for your time. And we're excited to see all of your success and future success in 2024 and beyond. Thank you so much.
thank you. Have a nice day.
You as well. Thank you.